Hey everyone, welcome back to Extreme IE. In this video, we're talking about layer 3 switches. Well, now that you know what a layer 2 switch is and you understand the basic concepts of that, now that you understand what a router does and allows us to communicate between different subnets or VLANs, now you know what a layer 3 switch does, because a layer 3 switch combines both the layer 2 switch functionality and the layer 3 router into a single device. So instead of us having what we used to call router on a stick, meaning we had our layer 2 switch and then up here we'd have a router, and we would typically have a single interface connected to that switch, so they would be connected like this. And what would happen is we would have virtual interfaces on this particular router that would correspond to each individual subnet that we had hanging off of our layer 2 router, or layer 2 switch rather. And so now instead of doing this, we can collapse this into a single layer 3 switch, where that switch is going to have multiple VLAN interfaces. So let's just say that I had, going back to the last video, let's just say I had 192.168.1.0/24. I may have VLAN, 192, and the IP address of that interface might be 192.168.1.1. And that would be the gateway, the default gateway, the routed interface of that particular router. So all of my devices that are connected on that switch on that network would use that address as the default gateway, just as we would with a regular router. The difference is that now we're not having to send traffic out of our switch into another device and then back across the network. We're using the incredibly fast switching power of the switch and combining routing on it. And this is what I was saying before in the layer 2 device, that on a layer 3 switch, on a layer 2 switch, you don't have as many features, and that's generally why they're cheaper. A layer 3 switch is going to be much faster because it's combining the switching power along with the routed power in a single device. This allows us to also have multiple VLANs on that particular device and use it again as a default gateway. Now, I keep using this term VLAN, and I just want to explain quickly what I mean. Typically, a VLAN, a virtual local area network, is going to correspond with a subnet. So let's just say, for example, I had a network of 192.168.1.0/24. That would equal, let's just say VLAN, let's just say it's VLAN 10, for example. I may go and have another VLAN, and we'll call that VLAN 20. And on that VLAN, that subnet might be 192.168. We'll say 2.0, right? So we're using this part of the subnet to identify our VLAN. In fact, let me put my pen down and grab the keyboard. Let's go in and let's quickly take a look at some of this. Let's grab a switch here. So we'll just open up my core switch. I'll say show VLAN brief, and these are all of the different VLANs that are on my particular core switch. Now I have a lot in my lab. I have a lot of different devices that I run, both for work as well as, just tinkering, because we should always be labbing. And so these are all of the different VLANs that I have, and you can see here these are some of the different VLAN identifiers. So each VLAN is going to have a VLAN number that is attached to it. So in that case here, for example, 1558 is the VLAN ID of this particular VLAN. If I say show IP interface brief and I say exclude assigned addresses or unassigned addresses, you're going to notice VLAN 999 corresponds with this VLAN up here, which is my management interface, my management VLAN, and there is my IP address. So every single device that is on that particular VLAN, instead of sending it all the way through my network up to a router, what I can do is I can just say, hey, use the local switch as your default gateway, and then that local switch is able to route all that different traffic. So this is a relatively short video because you already know what a layer 2 switch does, and you already know what a router does. A layer 3 switch simply combines the two.